Okay, let's try that again. Can you hear me? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, I was saying happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you and the ones who are watching the replay. Thank you for tuning in. I am Miss Christine, and I forgot to make myself unmuted, so you couldn't hear me at first. But needless to say, I am excited to be here again on another Saturday. I hope you have had a wonderful week. And let's put in the chat happy Saturday, and let's see who's in the classroom. Always good to see who's new in the classroom. And if you're watching, please come on in and say hello, okay? So, of course, I can always count on 2 for 1. Hello, 2 for 1. I like your pink hand. And then Mobile Music is in the classroom giving me a nice smile. So it's good to see you as well. Last week we had a wonderful class. We talked about some great things. I'm not going to talk too much about what we did because you can watch the replay, and I'm probably going to ask you some questions in today's lesson. But let's get started. Everyone's feeling okay? Let me see or hear you right in the chat. I am ready to learn. Are you ready to learn this afternoon? All right, so I see some new faces. Look at this. Okay, all the way in London. Well, hello. Excuse me. It is so wonderful to have you in our classroom today. I don't get many students, so it's wonderful to have you coming in and saying hello. I'm wondering what the weather is like right now in the UK and London, because right now I'm in New York City and it's a little bit chilly. We had nice warm weather, and then all of a sudden it got drastically cold. But welcome. I'm always excited to meet new faces and learn more about your music background. So please don't be shy. And let me hear you right in the chat. Ready to learn. Okay, Mobile Music is ready to learn. All right, sounds good. So without further ado, I'm doing a lot of different things here. So just bear with me as I get myself together. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to be working on today. So today we're going to be talking about whole, half, quarter rests. Okay, not last week, but the week before last, we talked about whole note, half note, quarter notes. Well, now we're talking about whole rest, half rest, and quarter rest. And yes, there are some similarities, but we'll talk about the whole rest, half rest, and quarter rest, how you identify them, what they look like. And then we're going to talk about we're going to play a music game. And I like to call it like a class play, okay? So don't be shy, okay? Don't be shy in the chat. If you're watching, please comment. I love it when you comment. It makes the experience fun and enjoyable for everyone. And of course, we're going to always have learning resources for you, which are absolutely free in our music store. And I will put the link in the chat as well. Okay, so welcome. Let me see if I welcomed everyone. Let's see. I'm having a couple of, of course, it wouldn't be it would not be a Saturday if I didn't have a tiny bit of tech issues. But so far, so good. All right. Any questions before we dive into today's lesson? Also, let me remind everyone to please like and subscribe, okay? We are still a small, tiny channel, and we want to welcome everyone. If you haven't already, given a thumbs up or subscribe, okay? And so Mobile Music is welcoming our new, I'm gonna say our new student, all the way in London. Shout out to Cedra. Am I saying that right? Okay, but we welcome you. Okay. Sometimes the handle names are like, what is it? What am I seeing? But I'm glad to have you in the music room, and I'm glad that you said hello all the way from London, UK. Okay, so we have all types of students. Last week we had someone all the way in South Africa. So welcome, welcome. This is a global education environment here. Okay, so without further ado, I see some students that are telling me that you are ready to learn. So 2 for 1, thank you. You are ready to learn. And mobile music, I'm sure you're ready to learn. And Cedra, I'm sure you're ready to learn as well. So we are going to get started. And let me get my slides together here. Okay, so let's talk about today's lesson. We have our whole, half, and quarter rest. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, what is a rest? Maybe you never even heard of a rest. I mean, you probably heard people say, you look tired, you should take a rest, or you've worked really hard today, go take a rest, and you naturally, hopefully, will sit down and rest your body. All right, but we're talking about music and how it relates to music. So a rest in silence, and well, in music, it is a silence in music, okay? Because if you just kept hearing beats or singing and never getting a break, that would not be enjoyable, right? You need a little bit of silence so that there's some interest and variation to whatever you're doing, singing, playing, or even as a listener. So what is a rest? A rest is silence in music. Music isn't just meant to make sounds, as I just mentioned. It also has to have some silence. And you will notice some symbols that I will be showing you. A rest symbol that tells us to stop playing. Not this symbol here that I have as a little icon. You'll be seeing some musical rest, and you will be able to recognize those musical rest once I start to share them with you. And rests have the exact same duration as our notes that we talked about in previous lessons, like the whole note, the whole half rest, and the quarter rest, not the quarter rest, sorry, the whole note, the half note, and the quarter note. They have their duration, meaning how long or short we play them. And you're going to see when we talk about the rest, they share the same duration, meaning the length of the silence in this case. All right, does that make sense so far? What is a rest? I went into great detail, but I think I made myself very, very clear. You can almost think of it like taking a breath or a pause, okay? And sometimes we really need to do that in life, okay? But we're talking about music. Let's move along. So duration, you might remember me talking about duration. It may sound like a fancy word, but how long a silence lasts. Remember, we're talking about rest. So everything is, silence, okay? So silence can be short, silence can be long. Every silence has a length, and we call it duration, okay? So I was exaggerating some of my silences, but you certainly should get the idea. And I see 2 for 1 is explaining or sharing that it makes sense for them. Now let's talk about rest values. Remember, we talked about note values. Well, we're going to talk about rest values and how we see silence in music. So let me get my little pen. Maybe someone can tell me what color pen I should use for today so that I can make some notations on my slide. So give me a color. How about maybe our visitor, friend, student from the UK? Where are you? Cedra. Okay. Give me a color, or 2 for 1, but anybody. So let's get some engagement. Give me a color so that I can notate my slides today. All right, because I want to make sure I circle a particular symbol And I like to use a special color pen or pencil. So we've got all kind of colors. All right, I'll give you a few seconds, and I do know that there's a bit of a delay, so I will take that into consideration. I can use red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, well, black as well. I won't use white because obviously you won't see it. All right, last call for a color, last call for a color. Let's see, is it coming up? Oh, okay, yellow. Okay, all right. So you know there's a delay. So if I don't respond right away, just know that there is a delay when you're live streaming. So yellow, yellow it is. Okay, so let's get my yellow pen. All right, let's see, is it working? Can you see that? Pretty good. All right, needless to say, music uses symbols, and these are our symbols here. I have my little yellow pen here by request, and I'm going to go into detail as to what these symbols represent. We know they're some type of silence or rest rather, but I need to go into a little bit more. But for the sake of this moment right now, it tells us exactly how long to stay silent. So you can take a look at these three symbols because we're going to be diving a lot deeper talking about these symbols. All right, so these symbols are called our rest value. And the reason why I say rest value is because they're going to have different lengths of silence, okay? So we use our whole rest, okay, which you see right here. And then we have a half rest, which looks similar to a whole rest, but you can see there is a difference. And then we have a quarter rest right here, which I'm circling, and they all have different durations of silence, okay? And we should know that the duration is going to tell us how long or short the silence would last. All right, wonderful, wonderful job. Okay, let's start with the whole rest. So just like the whole note, is we hold it for 4 counts when we talked about our last lesson. The whole rest is also going to be held for 4 silences, okay? Because everything is resting here. You don't hear anything. So a whole rest looks just like this little upside down hat. I even have a little magician's top hat with the little bunny ears, okay? It's an upside down hat, and it is also hanging from the 4th line, okay? And you can see I'm drawing my yellow pencil here to show you where the 4th line is. We count from the bottom to the top, okay? So when we're counting our lines and spaces, you should remember from lesson 1 that we count from the bottom to the top. So the whole rest hangs from the bottom from the 4th line, okay? So it hangs from the 4th line, and it's just a rest. We don't add anything extra like a stem or, we talked about stem directions. You don't do anything extra, and we'll talk about how you draw them as well. It's really just a little rectangular box filled in, and it hangs off that 4th line. And I say usually lasts for 4 beats of silence because sometimes, as you may know, as we talked about last week, the time signature will change the duration of our rest and our notes. But in our case, since this is a beginner class, usually whole notes and whole rest are going to last for 4 silence. So let's put 4 fingers up and let's act like we're going to have a whole rest. Here we go. So I'm going to give you a little 1, 2, ready, and that's it. Okay, so even though it's silence, you have to anticipate those 4 silences, okay? 4 beats of silence, to be clear. Okay, so here I have it in a little bit more of a visual silence in music that lasts for 4 beats. And I have my heartbeat because, as you know, we want music to be nice and steady. And even though it's silence, we still want to count those beats like we just did. Rest, 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 rest. But in this case, you would say 0. You just feel. Okay, so now here's another way to remember a whole rest. I told you that it hangs from the 4th line, and sometimes the children like to say it looks like a hole in the ground, okay? And there's a play on words too. So, hole, we spell it HOLE, but in this case we're dealing with the whole rest, so we put the W in front of it. So whatever helps you to remember whole rest hangs from the 4th line. All right, so far so good. Okay, getting very excited about our whole rest. Well, there's more to learn. Okay, let's get excited here. Now, before we learn more rest, let's just review the whole note so that you can see the correlation, okay? So we have our whole note here, and we should know from, I forgot what lesson, I believe it was lesson 2 or 3, but you can check the playlist. A whole note lasts for 4 beats. Remember this oval shape looking symbol that we talked about? And we're going to hold it for 4 beats. Ta, right? And very similar to the whole rest. Here, let me pause this for a second. You're going to rest for 4 beats. So here I have an example. I'm going to play it again. Just a moment. Okay. I got to get my, give me 1 second. Of course, things aren't working because that would be how it goes. You know how it goes. All right, hold on. I'm trying to, oh, there we go. Okay, now, all right, here we go. Everyone listen. Hopefully you can hear this. Okay, so now let me go into a little bit more detail here. You can see my little mouse here. You should know already this is a treble clef. And you should know from last week's lesson, this is our time signature. If you missed last week's lesson, I'll give you a quick crash course. Okay, the time signature tells us how many beats are going to, that we need in each measure. So in a 4/4 time signature, also known as common time, you may see a capital C there, not my for Christine, but C for common time, okay? And every measure is going to equal 4 beats, okay? And the 4 at the bottom tells us what kind of note gets the beat. In this case, it is the quarter note. The quarter note is getting the beat. We talked great detail in last week's lesson. So the whole note is, you're going to hear a sound for 4 beats. It's sustained, ta. And then you hear the whole rest, which you're resting, but you're still counting 4 beats of silence. And then you're going to hear the sustained 4 notes, or 4 beats, I should say. Ta, okay, not isolated. Ta, 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 because that would sound like quarter notes, and we want whole notes. So it's a sustain of 4 beats, and then you have your whole rest. So let's listen again, and this time I'll try not to talk while you're listening. Okay, here we go. Okay, and we also talked about our bar lines, right? We talked about our bar lines. Let me pause it here. And our double bar lines. So look at all of this that you have learned so far in music. Any questions before I move forward to our next rest? Any questions about what I just shared? I showed you the whole note, which was a review. We talked about the whole rest. And we kind of talked briefly about the time signature, which was last week's lesson. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, and just as a recap, when we were talking about the time signature, here we have the 4s. Looks like a fraction, okay, but this is a 4/4 time signature. The top number is going to tell us how many. In this case, we count up to 4. We know a whole note gets 4 beats, but you can have 2 half notes or 4 quarter notes. And then the bottom number tells us what kind of note is going to get the beat. The quarter note now gets the beat. That is And we know that a quarter note gets one beat. No sound? Oh no. Okay, let's do a test. You're not hearing the sound. Thank you for that. So let's see. Let's see if you can't hear this. Let's try it again. No sound. Listen, since I started live streaming, there's been tech issues from the first day I started. So I shouldn't be surprised you don't have sound because this is my norm. You can let me know if you hear the video. Okay. You can hear me, but you may not hear my video. I don't know why you have no sound. Okay. But let me know, Mobile Music or 2 for 1, if you can hear my video as well. Not sure why we're not getting sound. That's nothing new, and I apologize if you don't hear it. I have another workaround too. So if you don't hear it, let me know. I'll try it again one more time. Listen. Let's see. Yeah, there's something. Trying to see. Let's see if there's a way I can do something here. Okay, you can hear it now. Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Okay. I feel so honored when people say hello and they can hear, they can't hear. You have no idea. That really makes my day. So that's great. Okay, good, good, good. So you can hear it. All right, wonderful. Okay, good. So let's move along, okay? And as we talked about last week, I said that the top number tells you it gets 4 beats, and the bottom number, when you see a number 4 at the bottom, you automatically know that the quarter notes are running the show. That's my little way of expression, letting you know that the quarter note gets the beat when you see the number 4, okay? So that's just a quick review. All right, now let's talk about the half rest. And I might have my slide cut off a little bit, but that's okay. You're able to see everything except my little snowman that's cut off. But now let's talk about a half rest. Okay, so the half rest is shorter than the whole rest, okay? And literally by half. If the whole rest is a silence that gets 4 beats of silence is a whole rest. Let me get my words together. So a whole rest gets 4 beats of silence. A half rest gets 2 beats of silence. Yes, it does make sense mathematically. That is not by error. So a half rest is a shorter silence, okay? And notice that it looks like a top hat, but upside down, okay? The right side up, as they would say. Okay, let me get my little yellow pen. Okay, and so here is our half rest. And it can be confusing, okay? Because it sits on the 3rd line. Unlike the whole rest, this sits on the 3rd line, okay? The whole rest sits on the 4th line, the line above it. But the half rest sits on the 3rd line, okay? So there is the difference. It's right side up, and it sits on the 3rd line. The whole rest sits or hangs on the 4th line. So they can be confusing, but once you start to look really, really well at your music, you'll be able to instantly know the half rest from the whole rest. And if you know your time signature, in this case, common time or 4/4 time, you're going to already know how to count your beats and silences. Look at that. I got to pat you on the back because I'm so proud of you. Okay, so changing the symbols or changing the symbol changes how long the silence lasts. And as I mentioned, usually a half rest is going to be held for 2 beats of silence, because if we have a different type of time signature where the quarter note is no longer getting the beat, then things change with our note value or rest value. Okay, so now everything should start to connect and makes sense. So let's look at the half rest a little bit more. Here is our hat, right? And you could draw a little happy face because it is Saturday and I'm feeling happy. We've got some new students in the room and I am so excited when I get to meet new people. Okay, so it is a silence in music that lasts for 2 beats. And here's my heartbeat to let you know. You're just resting for 2 beats. And you're anticipating or still counting the 2 beats. Even though you don't hear anything, you're almost like you're counting 1, 2, but you're resting. Okay, so you feel those silences as if they were you were singing or playing, but it's a rest, it's a silence. So here is a way to help you remember the half rest. We have a little snowman, okay, and he's wearing the top hat, but whatever helps you to remember. But as I mentioned, it sits directly on the 3rd line like a hat on a head. Okay, so here's our 3rd line with the half rest. And here is a comparison. Here's our half rest, notice on the 3rd line, and here is our whole rest hanging from the 4th line. And as I mentioned, you can think of it like a hole, H-O-L-E, hole in the ground. For your whole rest, W-H-O-L-E, okay? So everybody learns different, and so these are just different ways for you to kind of make it all make sense, okay? So give me a thumbs up if it's okay to move along. I'm gonna pause and see if you have any questions about our half rest and our whole rest, okay? Any questions so far? I like to take a rest, right? Look at that. See how everything comes together. I'm taking a rest to see if you have questions. Now, how long should my rest be? Should it be a whole rest or a half rest? Okay, yes, I'm silly. My sense of humor is pretty dry. Okay, all right, I don't see any questions coming in. So I'm going to assume I have a thumbs up and I can move along, okay? I can move along. Okay, give you a few more seconds, okay? All right. Okay. All right. So, okay, I see a question here. Okay, let's see. What's your question? Is this mobile music? A whole week rest is what I could use. A whole week rest. I love it. Yes. Okay. I like that. Now, would that be 7 day? Because there are 7 days in a week, or do you need like a long weekend? Because it'll be like let me see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's like a extended weekend. I don't know, I'm playing with you there, but I can understand. I can use a rest, and I could use maybe 2 full weeks, meaning 7 days of rest. So all right, that's great. Thank you for that, mobile music. Okay, so now let's quickly recap, and somehow my slides are looking all kind of weird. So here's our half note, right? Our half note is a sound that lasts for 2 beats, okay? So you can think of them like brother and sister maybe. So you can think of I don't know why I have gray. You can think of it like the whole note could be the brother. It doesn't matter. I'm just making this up. And the rest can be the sister because they share the similar or the same duration. Okay, so if the half note gets 2 beats here, in this case 2 beats, and we know the half rest also gets 2 beats, but what is the difference? The note, you're hearing a sound. Okay, I don't know what happened to my keyboard. Ta, right? But the rest, you hear no sound, okay? So that is the difference. And I don't know if I made this very clear when we were talking about the half note, which we know it gets 2 beats, but when we have 2 half notes and when we add 2 plus 2, we know it equals 4 beats, but the way it would sound is ta, ta, okay? So it's ta, ta, but not ta, 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 because there's 4 beats, okay? It's sustained for 2 beats and then another sustain for 2 beats. I wanted to make that clear when I was discussing half notes, okay? But going back to our half note and our whole note, remember that the 2 separated notes, you hear a separation in your sound, okay? So hear a separation between the 2 half notes, and the same thing for our whole note. This is just a quick recap, okay? Now here I want everyone to listen, and hopefully you will be able to hear this. Okay, let's see. Something is weird. I may have to go to my notation software because I don't know if the audio is coming in accurately. Let me try that again, okay? Okay, give me one moment. And of course, let's do this. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's listen. Okay, you hear it? Okay, good. All right, so let me pause this for a second. So here in measure 1, you know you have 2 half notes. Our time signature is already telling us every measure has to equal 4 beats or 4 counts. Counts and beats are the same thing, so don't get confused. So you have a half note and a half note. Ta, ta, and then you have a half note and a half rest. Ta, rest, rest. Now I'm speaking the word rest, rest, so you can feel the 2 beats. But technically it should go ta. Okay, so you feel the 2 beats, but you're resting. And then measure 3, ta, ta, and measure 4, ta. And I use my hand to understand rest, rest. Those 2 rest. Okay, let's see. I see some comments coming in. Can you give us musical examples of what a rest sounds like in music? Oh, that's an excellent question. Yes, let me see if I can go into my resources and share with you an actual song with whole rest, with half rest, and now we're getting ready to talk about the quarter rest, okay? So I'm going to do some diving once we finish with our lesson so I can give you something tangible, okay? So that it's not just me giving you knowledge, but something that you can actually see, maybe a song, I don't know, like maybe Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson's movie, which I'm not promoting, is out in theaters here in the United States. And so maybe I can find some music and we can look at the half rest, the whole rest, and now the quarter rest, okay? That's a great question. Thank you, 2 for 1. Okay, so we're going to move along to the quarter rest, okay? And the quarter rest is a quick silence, okay? And it looks like sometimes they say a squiggly line or a lightning bolt, whatever helps you to remember the quarter rest, okay? The quarter rest. Make sure I'm making myself very clear with that, okay? And it is completely different from the whole rest and the half rest. Okay, and usually when you see the quarter rest, like the quarter note is now, the quarter rest is going to get 1 beat of silence. Okay, 1 beat of silence. So here is our quarter rest, and you see I have 1 heartbeat, and so it's like shh, but you don't even want to say shh because that's a sound. We can hear that. It's just silence. It's that 1 beat of silence, okay? And when we look at our quarter rest for quarter note. Let me say my quarter note. Here is our quarter note here, okay? And remember, it gets a sound that lasts for one beat, okay? Ta, and I was doing high five. Ta, like high five my London friend. Ta, all right? That's your quarter note. And the same thing if it was a quarter rest. Here's my quarter rest. All right, so we would hear that one beat, or I should say we would anticipate that one beat, but it's in silence. Right? Come on, give me a high five to the camera. All right, and then if we go to our quarter note, it's the same thing. Ta, all right? So you always want to anticipate the beat even though it's silence. Okay, all right, so let's see, some comments are coming in. The example you showed in the video works as a good example. You showed it just after I asked, so thank you. Okay, Mobile Music, no worries, no worries. Okay, but it's always nice to go and pull up popular tunes and see if you can find, if you can sight read. Sight reading is opening up some sheet music, and even if you don't play an instrument, you can identify those notes. You know time signature. So if you see a 4/4 time signature and you see whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, you would be able to count out that rhythm if that's what you were able to see. And maybe that's something that I can do or think to do in our class play today. Just make up something off the top of my head, which I often do. But this is called learning. All right, so here's our quarter notes, right? And we know that a quarter note gets one beat of sound, not silence. So here we have 4 quarter notes, and I'll clap them. Ta, 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 right? Or I'll tap this. Ta, 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 and we have that 4 beats. If these were quarter rests, then we would hear absolutely nothing, but we would still count the 4 beats, okay? So here is a little correlation with the quarter notes and the whole note, the quarter notes and the whole note, but they're separated. Ta, 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 and then the whole note. Ta, you're holding that ta. Okay, so we're talking about sound. All right, so now let's put it all together for a quick moment here. Here is our restoration review. Notice, where's my, somehow my pen, oh, there we go. Let me get my pen. Okay, so here is our whole rest, right? Here's our whole rest, and you know that it gets 4 beats, but is it silence or sound? It's a silence, right? Then we have our half rest. And if I don't know if I said whole, I want to make sure I made whole rest. If I didn't make that clear, whole rest. Here's our whole rest, 4 beats of silence. Here's our half rest, right? And remember, the half rest is like a top hat that you can wear, okay? And here's our half rest, and it gets 2 beats of silence. Good. That's it. And here is our quarter rest. And it looks like a little squiggly line. And I can share with you how I draw it because these are printed quarter rest. Okay, so here's a quarter rest, a quarter rest, a quarter rest, and a quarter rest. And we know that a quarter rest gets 1 beat. So if we add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, we know that equals 4. Okay, now let's look at our note duration. Here is our whole note, and we know the whole note gets 4 beats, very similar to the whole rest, but we have sound with our whole note. Here is our half note, and we have 2 half notes here, okay, and they get 2 beats, okay? So I'm sort of subdividing. Here you have 4, then you break it down 2, and then 2, and that equals 4. So you can understand the breakdown. Here is a quarter note, okay? We got a quarter note here, a quarter note here, a quarter note here, and a quarter note here. Each quarter note gets 1 beat. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4 for our whole note. Very similar to our quarter rest. Quarter rest 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4 for our whole rest, okay? So any questions so far about what I shared? Because now we're going to have a little fun. I'm gonna do my shoulder dance because I like to have fun, okay? But let's make sure that is clear, okay? So I like to say brother and sister, right? Because when you have a brother, I don't have a brother, but I have a sister, and there's some similarities, right? You're not you don't maybe like the same things, but you're similar. So the whole note and the whole rest have similarities. One is sound for 4 beats, but the other is silence for 4 beats. Okay, so the common now what they have that are similar is it is a total of 4 beats, whether it's sound or silence. That's what they have in common. Okay, so let's see. No questions so far. So we're going to have a little class play. I have my little yellow pen. And so the way we're going to play this, and you're going to have to put this in the chat. So come on and get your fingers all, loosened up, so to speak. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the type. So is it a whole note? Is it a whole rest, right? Okay. And then here I have a note, okay? And here we have rest. And then we have duration. How long are we holding that note or that rest, okay? So does everybody understand so far? Okay, good. All right, so the first thing that I want you to tell me or describe, because this is hard to do, I'm looking for a whole note first, okay? So I'm looking for the whole note. In the chat, please describe a whole note so I can know, is this a whole note, this a whole note? I don't know which is a whole note. I don't know what it is. I need some help. Please help me so that I can drag it into my chart for the column for a whole note. That's what I need your help, okay? I need some help, please. Please help me with that, all right? So let's see if you can do that. I'll give you a few seconds because I don't think that's too hard. Okay, and I'm going to put some 30 seconds on the clock and go. Okay, please tell me where, I don't know, describe a whole note for me. I see some answers coming in. Okay, 18 seconds-ish, because I know there's a delay. Okay, you got to describe it. Okay. Where's my London buddy? I hope they didn't leave. Okay. Okay, so that's our time. That's our time. Okay, let's see who's coming up with their answer. Okay, mobile music, the oval with no stem. I like that. Okay, I also see looks like the letter O. Oh yeah. I like that. I like that. Okay, 4th symbol in from the left. Oh, excuse me, 2 for 1. Oval shape, no stem. Okay, so all are correct. All are correct. Come on and pat yourself on the back. Okay, and let me see if I can get my computer to operate with me here. All right, so the whole note is exactly what everyone said, okay? We have an oval. You can say the letter O. I mean, whatever works, okay? We all understand that it's the whole note. Now, I'm looking for the whole rest. How would you describe the whole rest? We talked about all kinds of different things. Something in the ground, play on words, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to put the clock back on And here we go. Let me see if I can get it to start for me. Go. All right. I'm taking a rest. Get it? Boom, boom. Normally I have my little jumping music. I miss my jumping music. I'm not in my music studio, so I have to work with what I have. Okay. All right, come on. Okay, we're down to just a few seconds. Okay, and I'm going to stop the clock. Okay, so in your own words, what is the whole rest? What does it look like? Okay, we talked about this. Remember the hole in the ground, right? And so the hole meaning H-O-L-E, right? In fact, I have all kind of fun things. Let me get my fun toys, right? We had hole, right? And then we kind of put a whole rest. Can you see that? Okay, so let's see what are some of our comments. Let's take a look here. Let's see here. So you have looks like a top hat upside down. Yes. And now I'm going to go so far as to say, where does it hang? Oh, you like that. Where does it hang? Where does the whole rest hang? A hole in the ground, okay? And she's got the word whole, W-H-O-L-E versus H-O-L-E. Okay, and then, okay, there's the correction here, the whole, but I know what you mean, whole rest, okay? So now my question is, where does the whole rest hang, okay? Or where does it belong on the staff? Where does it live on the staff, okay? And let's see if we can get more responses from some of our other students that I see you. Hello and welcome. Don't be afraid to say hello, okay? All right. Was it Cedra from London? So let's see. Where does the whole rest hang? Is it the first line? Is it the second line? Is it the third line? Is it the fourth line? Is it the fifth line? Is it the first space? Is it the second space? Is it the third space or the fourth space? I don't know. You tell me. Okay, here's our London bunny. Go London. Go London is in the house and very strong. Hangs from the fourth line. That is correct. Hangs from the fourth line. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's go to our chart. And so, because it can be confusing when they're not on the staff, right? So I got all of these things randomly here. But we know that it looks like, oops, I got my pencil here. Let me get my my arrow so that I can grab and drag it to my chart. Okay, so here is my whole rest. And you know what? Some of the little children that we teach, which, you know, they're very young, but they like to even draw the little legs coming out of the hole. Right, so we can have some fun Saturday. I don't know what that looks like from your end, but you can have fun with me. Okay, so now I want you to tell me how long we would hold either the whole note or the whole rest. Okay, so I'm looking for the duration, and I'm going to put this in a circle. Okay, and let's go to our clock. All right, and hit it. All right, I'm taking oh, let me hit the clock. Okay, good. I'm taking a little rest. All right, come on in, come on in. Where's London? Come on, London. Come on in the house. Come on in the room. Come on, let me hear your answer. See some answers coming in. We got a few more seconds. How long do we hold the whole note and the whole rest? Okay, that's our time. Okay, let's see. Some of our answers are coming in. All right, we don't want London to go away. London, stay with us, Cedra. Okay, 4 beats. Okay, good. 4 counts. Thank you. Okay, London is in the house. Yes, coming in strong with a lot of those answers. Okay, so it is 4 beats. And you can say, notice 2 for 1 said 4 beats. And notice that mobile music said 4 counts. Both are correct, whether it's beats or counts. Okay, so it doesn't mean that, oh, she didn't say counts or she didn't say beats. When we say beats or counts, ta, if it's the whole note, if it's the whole rest, you still got to count those beats or count because you got to count. Okay, all right, so yes, 4 counts, whole rest for the whole bar. I love it. Oh, look at all of these music terms: bar, measure. London better go, 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 go. London is in the house. High five London, Cedra. Thank you. All right, let's move along. Okay, so now let me get my class play. And I love to have fun with you. I hope you're enjoying this with me, okay? And thank you so much for tuning in. Honestly, I mean it from my heart. That's a nice plug for a thumbs up, subscribe, okay? All right, so now let's go to the half. Let's go to the half note, okay? That's going to be next. Half note. All right, so put in the chat, what does it look like? We talked about this, okay? We talked about this. All kind of, and use your music terms, okay? I've heard whole bar, right? I've heard 4 counts. I've heard 4 beats, okay? All types of music terms. This is how we communicate. And you can be all over the world, right? All the way in London, okay? And we're in New York. And look at us, okay? We understand the language of music. I'm so excited about this. Okay, so let me give you a few seconds on the clock, okay? All right, here we go. And this time, I'm going to not sit in silence. I'm going to be in my own little world, and I can hear some music in my head. Okay? Do, 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 do. Do you do that? Right? You can hear stuff and then you just start singing and people start to look at you and they may think that you're a little bit crazy. No, you're just excited because you love music. That's all. Oh, I didn't hit start. Okay, here we go. All right, now the clock is going. Okay, so the question was, what is a half note? What does it look like? Can you describe it? Okay. All right, mobile music missed the question. So the question is, I need some help with the half note. Okay, that's the next column and row that we're dealing with. Half note. What does it look like? I need some help. Can you please help me out? How do we describe the half note, okay, in your own words? We're almost finished, okay? So I'll give you a few more seconds to get your answers in the chat, okay? Get your answers in the chat. All right, all right. Okay. I know I haven't been really putting a lot in the chat because I've been excited about teaching. Okay, let's see what your answers are. I'm going to get my clock off and let's see what the answers are. Okay, I see some answers coming in. Oval with a stem to the right. Okay, very detailed. Yes. Okay, come on, London. All right, I'm waiting for my answer. The question was, how do you describe a half note? Half note. Okay, let's see. Mobile music. It looks like a smaller whole note tilted with a stem. I love your level of detail. It looks like a smaller whole note tilted with a stem. I'm going to say acceptable, okay? I don't know if it's always tilted, but in this case, Depending on what kind of music you're looking at, if it's notated on a sheet music, sometimes it is a little tilted. And even when you're drawing your half notes, especially me, my lines are always a little crooked. So I like that. I'm going to use the word tilted instead of crooked. Okay, thank you, Mobile Music. Where's London? Come on, London is in the house. London is in the house. We're waiting for our good friend from London, okay, to give us their answer, okay? But that is correct, okay? The half note is, oh, okay, London is here. London is here, okay, Cedra. Okay, look, oval head, unshaded with a stem. Okay, okay. Thank you for that answer. Okay, I love it. All are acceptable. Come on and give yourself a pat, pat, pat on the back. Job well done, okay? As long as you know what it is really what it matters. And so, yes, we can say a couple of things to describe the half note. Okay, let me get my yellow pen. We can say it is a oval or a whole note, but not, I don't want to use the word whole note because we have a whole note here, but we have a stem. The most important is it is not filled in, as Cedra from London said. It is not filled in. It has a stem, okay? And it can go sometimes up to the right or even down to the left, depending on where it falls on the staff, right? We know the staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces, okay? But that is absolutely correct. And thank you for your answers, all of you. We have quite a bit of people watching. I'm seeing about 18 people. And so please say hello. It makes me feel so good when you say hi, okay? All right, so where is my half note? Let me get my my arrow, and I'm going to drag my half note to this column here, okay? All right, now I need to know what the half rest is. Half rest, okay? And Mobile Music is saying something looks like a donut, okay? Maybe the whole note, perhaps you're saying, looks like the donut, okay? So some people like to think about food. I hear you, okay? All right, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying the whole note looks like a donut, to be clear. Okay, yummy. All right, so now my next question is, please tell me, what does the half rest look like, okay? Half rest. What does the half rest look like, okay? In your own words, put it in the chat. And, okay, tell me, where does it go on the staff? I don't know. Where do I put this half rest? Do I put it all the way on the top line, which is the 5th line? Or do I put it down at the bottom on the 1st line? Or maybe it goes in the spaces. I have no idea. Does it go in a 3rd space? You tell me, okay? Come on, this is pretty easy if you were paying attention. I know we have super smart students here, so I have no doubt that this is not resonating with you all. All right, so come on. Oh, let me put my 30 seconds on the clock. Okay, here we go. Let me press play because I'll forget to do that. And I'm resting. I'm resting. Okay, I'm resting. So I see some answers coming in. Okay, London should be in the house or in the room. This is live in the music room, right? Okay, so come on, London. We're waiting on you as well. We would love to hear from you and others as well. Okay, so we have 2 seconds. Okay, and I'm going to take my clock down and let's look at some of our answers here. All right, so let's see. 2 for 1 says a top hat. Okay, and I like that. Let me see you do it. A top hat. Okay, thank you, 2 for 1. And Mobile Music says it sits on the 3rd line. Good, and I like that you said sit as opposed to hang, because the only rest that we've discussed is the whole rest, okay, that hangs from the 4th line. So the half rest sits on the third line, like a top hat. Okay, did you notice that? Like a top hat. All right, London, a black rectangle on top of the third line. Ding, ding, ding. I want to get my sound effects. Job well done, okay? Excellent. Where London is in the room, okay? Thank you. Okay, so all are correct answers. All are correct answers. So let's find our half rest, okay? And here it is. Okay, I'm going to drag it in this column, okay? And we should, and in fact, you know what? I'll go back just a moment. Okay, so remember what we talked about. Here is our half rest. It sits like a top hat on the third line. I know you're going to go home, or you're already home, or wherever you are, and you're going to remember like a top hat. Okay, and then the whole rest hangs. Okay, it's so heavy it has to hang off of that fourth line. Okay, I remember I had a music teacher tell me that it was just too heavy. It had to just hang on for dear life on the fourth line. Whatever helps you to remember. Okay, all right, so now we're almost there. We're almost there. Now is the quarter note, the quarter note, okay? So now is the quarter note, and I'll underline it. In your own words, please tell me where is or what does the quarter note look like, okay? Maybe someone has no idea what you're talking about, and you have to describe a quarter note. How would you describe it? Okay, and we talked about this. Sometimes it's filled in. I'm not going to say too much because I might give you the answer. So let's go to the clock. Okay, putting my 30 seconds on. All right, don't forget to press play, Christine, and go. All right, I'm sitting in what? Silence. All right, I'm waiting for my answers to come in. All right, we got 12 seconds. Come on in. Don't be afraid. Tell me your answers. How would you describe a quarter note? That's what we're talking about, the quarter note. Okay, so that's our time, okay? All right, so let's see. Let's see who is going to share their answers with us for the quarter note. I'll give you a few more seconds because I do know that there is a delay. Okay, so we are looking for the quarter note. All right, so let me see here. All right, Mobile Music says it's a filled in oval with a stem. Yes, that is very much correct. Okay, not like the half note, which is not filled in. I think our London friend said shaded. Okay, all of that is acceptable. Shaded in, filled in, okay? So yes, the quarter note is filled in with a stem, okay? And depending on where it is on the staff, you will know what direction to put that stem, whether up or down. Okay, let's see here. All right, so a black filled in oval with a stem. All right, London, acceptable. Yes, that is correct. Okay, you want it filled in because I don't think you're going to see a yellow filled in quarter note. I mean, maybe we can have some fun and, draw our music notes in yellow, but it is just standard black and white. Okay, very nice job. Okay, and then we have a solid oval with a stem. Okay. So all are acceptable answers. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate it, and I mean that. Okay, so let me get myself together here so we can drag it to the appropriate area in our chart. So here's my quarter note. And there it is, filled in with the stem, okay? And so now I need that quarter rest. Quarter rest. Now this is going to be very interesting because, it's not like a top hat. It's not like any kind of hat, right? Nothing like the whole or half rest. But now, how would you describe a quarter rest? Okay. I'm almost afraid to ask because I don't know what kind of answers I'm going to get. But this is live, so. But how would you describe the quarter rest? Okay. How would you how would you describe it? How would you describe it? Let me get my clock on, okay? And hit the play button, Christine. Go. Let's do it. You know I'm sitting in what? Silence. All right, almost there, almost there. Come on, put your answers in. All right, almost there, about 5 seconds. Okay, and that's our time, that's our time. Okay, so let's take a look at our answers. Oh boy. All right, I wonder what everyone's gonna say here. Okay, let's see. A chromatic notation, colorful notes. Okay, all right, mobile music. That's very interesting. Okay, now we have a sideways mustache. Okay, sideways mustache. I like that. Okay, wobbly vertical line. Yes, okay, wobbly vertical line. I like that. Okay, all of these, there's no sort of clear definition. I mean, sometimes some people say they have a letter Z and a C. I'll show you that in just a second. And oh, a squiggly Z. Look at that. I didn't even see that on the screen here. So let me go get my pen, right? And we're using yellow today. And so all are acceptable. Wobbly, vertical line, sideways, mustache, colorful, whatever you think, as long as you can identify that it is a quarter rest. But some people like to say you can draw the letter Z, right? And then you can draw a lowercase c, okay? And that kind of sort of looks a little like, the quarter rest, but, do the best you can, okay? As I've seen some people just do a little bit of anything because it's not the easiest kind of rest to draw. Okay, so let me get my arrow here, okay? And this is where the fun begins. Now I have to, take my my quarter rest and put it in the category of rest. Now I forgot to add my duration. You told me that the whole rest and the whole note gets 4 beats, and you also told me that the half note and the half rest gets 2 beats. And of course we know, since we have the number 1, that now the quarter note and the quarter rest is going to get 1 beat. Okay, does that make sense? I think that makes sense. All right, that was awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me see if there are any final questions before I say my thank yous and my goodbyes. Okay, any questions about whole note, even if it's a whole note, but more importantly the whole rest? Any questions about the half note and the half rest? Okay, and let me add my little smiley face because it's a top hat, right? And we're having fun in the classroom. So I'm going to draw my little smiley face. I have a new London friend here. Okay, I don't know what my little smiley face looks like, but just have fun with me. Any questions about the quarter note or the quarter rest? Okay, and any questions about the length, the duration, 4 beats, 2 beats, or 1 beat? Any questions so far? Did I make everything clear? Okay, just to recap, here's our note duration review. Remember we talked about it. The whole rest hangs from the 4th line, is going to get 4 beats of silence. Our half rest, like a top hat, right? Remember that? Okay, 2 beats of silence, okay? And then our quarter rest, okay? 1 beat of silence. And everything has been broken down. That's why you see the 4 the whole rest at the top, and then we broke everything down, okay? And the same thing for our whole notes, or I'm sorry, our note duration. Here's our whole note, then we went down to our half note. We know the whole note gets 4 beats, the half note gets 2 beats, and then we go to our quarter note, and we know our quarter note gets 1 beat of sound. Everything here is about sound. Okay, so I think everything is clear. I'm getting everything is clear. Thank you. You are most welcome. And 2 for 1 will be singing that like a top hat. Yes. All right. So our London and our friend from London, any questions for me, please? Okay. I welcome all questions, okay? And if I mispronounced your name, I offer an apology, okay? But we love having new students in the classroom. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate the engagement. This is a perfect time to give me a little like and subscribe, please, okay? If you gave me a thumbs up last week, please give me a thumbs up this week. It doesn't cost you anything. Let me talk about the homework, okay? So, and we're slowly getting our little website up and running. So if you notice some worksheets are not up there yet, it's coming, but we have all of Unit 1 on the website and the last 3 lessons or 4 lessons for Unit 2. Okay, so thank you. Let me put that in the chat. And I'm still standing by to see if I have any questions, okay? All right, so here is the website to go and get the resources. Okay, give me a second here. Okay, so the link is in the chat. Okay, hopefully you have that, and I can also put that on the screen for you. Okay, all right, so here is here is the site that you can get the resources. They're all free. Okay, they are all free for you. So be sure to visit our school store. Okay, so let me just say a thank you to everyone. Okay, Cedra, I think we have you from London. I like saying London is in the room. Okay, 2 for 1, thank you so much. And of course, Mobile Music, thank you so much. And everyone that's watching, okay, even if you didn't say hello, I know you said hello virtually, okay? In some way you were watching, and I appreciate that. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Thank you for giving a like. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate everyone doing what they can to help us grow. So until then, I'm going to say continue to put music in your heart and have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you in the next lesson, all right? What is that? Like a top hat. All right, have a great day. Okay, have a great day.